Well, we are joined today by a very special guest, Marko Filipovic from Hungary. He was on our first original 2014-2015 prolific prep team, and he joins us all the way from Hungary. Marko, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, man. I always that first team brings back a lot of memories. I know that uh, a couple things I remember from you all the time was you were always smiling. I didn't know if that's because you didn't know what we were saying or you were just always happy or what it was. And 6 years later, I hit you on a Zoom meeting and you have the biggest smile in the world. How are you doing? What have you been up to?
In this quarantine life, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
But finally, we can go out here in Hungary. So workout just started 1 week ago, and then we are trying to get back.
Yeah. Well, you're now a professional player, right? Back in what country are you playing professionally in, and what division, and what team are you playing for?
So I'm playing for Falco. We were on the first position, but they ended up the season, and they didn't make a winner or anything. So yeah, that's the Hungarian league, and then we participated in the Champions League.
Okay.
Which is the the third league in Europe. Like it's kind of a cup.
Yeah.
All over the countries.
Yeah. So 6 years ago, you are a 6'7", 6'8", small forward, and you make the trip across from Europe. Our first European in that original team. What were some of the thoughts in your mind when you're on the airplane headed to San Francisco and then Napa, a place you've never been before? What were some of the things going through your mind?
Okay, so I just turned 18 when I got on the plane.
Wow.
And that was the first time I traveled alone.
Wow.
That long distance. So I was so excited, like America, oh my God. And I just only saw in the movies or on videos. So
yeah.
When I arrived, I didn't even speak English. I think you picked me up on the airport, how I remember.
Yeah.
And you were talking to me, and I was like, maybe, no. So, yeah, that part was hard for me, but I enjoyed the whole situation. So it was fun, and then the teams, we got different cultures in the team, so it was fun.
Yeah. I think we stopped for a quick cheeseburger or something before going to the Urbach family. I think you were hungry, and I mean, you're from Hungary, but you were hungry, and I mean, you're a big, strong, physical wing, and I'm European, so I spoke French, but I didn't speak Hungarian. And your aunt, who's an awesome woman, she speaks a whole bunch of languages, and so now here we are getting ready, and we go to meet the Urbach family, some of the most wonderful human beings I've ever been around. I mean, just really, really good people. Talk to us a little bit about having a host family, living in a home. Maybe at first you're like, oh, I don't really know. But then as time goes on, you're like, man, they're almost part of your family.
So it was the same thing when we met. My English, still, I didn't speak English. And we tried to figure out the things. But the first thing, what happened after a long travel, I slept like 16 hours.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
And then I discovered everything in Napa.
Yeah.
It was whole different than here, Hungary, or I can say even Europe.
Yeah.
And I think in the first day I got to the gym where we practiced, and then everything was new to me. So I was discovered.
Yeah. And Barry and Lori, they're wonderful people. They kind of have a large family. They have, kids and grandkids. And I think your bedroom was the first one to the left there at the front, kind of. And I do remember, you know, you like to sleep or whatnot. So, now, so you get to Napa. This is our first team ever. You know, I'm the coach, but I'm also one of the directors, and I got a whole bunch of stuff going on, and there's school, and then you have your teammates. So you have teammates from Mali, you have teammates from Detroit, you have teammates from Saginaw, Michigan, from Los Angeles, Baidi Kamagate, from Guinea. Talk to us a little bit about, walking into a gym with all these different people and not even really speaking the English language, and we're just starting to work out.
Okay, so I can say I was a little bit ahead of the Amadou and Mamadou
Oh
because
yeah,
they
yeah,
absolutely nothing with English.
yeah,
And, so but I think we were young, so we
yeah,
figured it out how it works. The basketball language is, you understand even the signs,
yeah,
you understand each other on the court. Uh, I remember we started the workouts. The team was not full. Guy just came like every second day,
yeah.
and
You got
somebody
there.
leave.
Yeah, you were
So,
early. You got there early, right? You were
yeah,
one of the first guys, I think. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, and somebody lived in a different city close to Napa. It was really kind of a cultural thing,
Yeah.
different. Everybody grow up differently, so but basketball is basketball, so it helped us.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, then we had some of the local guys like Matt O'Reilly and Ryan Stewart and Mika Elon and, you know, all these different personalities. They're American and they're, 17 or 18, and you're Hungarian, and then Amadou and Mamadou. Yeah, you were way ahead of them. They didn't speak. I during practices, I had to turn. I think I had to speak French to them a little bit during practices, and but I remember um, the workouts were really competitive. Me and Jeremy, we loved skill development, but you guys were all very serious about basketball. Even though you were from different parts of the world, you were great kids. You really loved to work out. And some of you were a little bit older, maybe than some of the younger guys. But um, talk to us a little bit about the workouts and the competitiveness and kind of the Americans, because the American game, it might be a little bit different than the European game. Maybe not too many differences, but there are some differences.
Yes, it was very competitive, especially when Josh arrived. Uh,
Yeah.
I remember we did some skills at the beginning of the practice,
Hmm.
and then we had some shooting from positioning, from running, and then at the end we always played.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember sometimes we almost had some fight on the practice, but it's normal, I think, because that how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
So
it was really
it was
competitive.
it was it was really fun. The whole way, you got done in the school. Everybody went on a different school, and then you met. I think the practices were at 3 o'clock or something like this, 4,
Yeah.
and everybody met at afternoon.
Yeah, no, you're right. The competitiveness of the different guys, they all had different personalities, and Josh was a really competitive, um, and the games were competitive. Kyle Lefroy and Matt O'Reilly and you, and then right, and while it was all competitive, then we start getting on airplanes, right? We get on airplanes and start going to tournaments, and I don't know, we play in like Paducah, Kentucky, and Benton, Kentucky, and Dayton, Ohio, and I think we played in West Virginia. Talk to us a little bit about what you remember during the season and playing in some of these different tournaments, and for the first time in the United States. It was probably a little. You were probably nerve-wracked, a little bit nervous, but that's normal, right? We're playing in some different country. How was that? How was the season for you?
For me, it was very interesting. I think our first tournament was in Los Angeles, and we drove there, I
Yeah,
think, and it was really long. Uh,
yeah,
and then how time passed. We traveled by plane, and it was like we wake up at even 3 o'clock. We got on a plane and then we were there afternoon. Uh, I remember we were one part of the United States and then we traveled to the other parts. I don't know where. I remember we were in Las Vegas.
Oh
In
yeah.
some big tournament.
Yeah.
It was really fun for a 18, 19-year-old kids.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah. No. And you know, some of your teammates were talking about you the other day, like Ryan Stewart was talking about you, and Sasha French. I don't know if you remember Sasha.
Of
Uh,
course.
yeah, so he said sometimes, you know, when we were coaching, you know, you would nod your head and say yes, and you know, we didn't really know if you knew, but it was basketball language, and you were a really good shooter and you had good size, and then sometimes, you know, the players would try to figure out how to talk to each other because, you know, not everyone spoke the same language, and so there was coaches trying to talk to the players, and then there was the players trying to talk to each other to figure out, like, how do we coexist on the floor, you know? And they some of those guys brought that up the past couple days.
Yes, I think how time passed, we figured this out, how things worked in the team, and what everybody's play style, what he
Yeah.
can do best. So I think at the end it was like a machine.
Yeah.
Everything went well.
Yeah, it synced. It kind of clicked. Yeah. You know, anytime you do something for the first time, you know, you're kind of working your way through and trying to figure stuff out. I mean, I told some of your teammates that I apologize because while I was coaching, I was thinking about our flights, you know, the guys I-20s, you know, Josh Jackson. I had so many distractions, but there was only two of us, me and Jeremy. So I apologize that my brain during games wasn't all in with, you know, every single part of the game, you know, and we played it flying to the hoop, and we were up like 8 points with 50 seconds against La Lumiere, and we ended up I think we ended up losing in overtime, and it was probably my fault. I don't know how I can lose a lead like that. I don't know. I made some substitution. I have no idea what I did.
Yes, that was a lot of things going on, even for us
Yeah.
with the studies. It was really hard at the
Yeah.
beginning, the English classes. I had economy because I was a senior.
Oh yeah.
Economy, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And but somehow figured out.
Yeah. You figured it out. You got a high school diploma. Um, you know, the Urbach family, you know, they're special people. You know, how was it, um, you know, like your family back home in Europe, and then they ended up getting along really well with the Urbach family and communicating all the time, and they almost became like family. Like you're like you have like cousins and aunts in Napa. Whenever you need help, you know, you have the Urbach family there, and then your family back home knowing they can always count on Barry and Lori. Talk to us a little bit about that.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
They gave me all the help. They always showed me new things, even with study. They cooked really well. That's important. They had always the best breakfast. I remember.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, they did everything for me. So uh, that's kind of similar with my parents here, because before that I got everything, and then when I got there, it was really easy to hop in because they gave me everything. They brought me so many places. I remember we went to the country club. I think the second day, the third day, there was a big pool, and then Sasha showed up, and then that's how the relationship started.
Yeah.
And I remember my host parents asked me like, okay, so we can drop you to practice. I'm like, no, Sasha is coming. And Sasha picked me up, I think, every second day.
Yeah. I think Sasha had a car, right? Didn't he have a car his senior year? And then
Yes.
Matt O'Reilly had a car, and then Ryan Stewart. Yeah. I remember the country club. Yeah, there was the Urbachs were members of the country club, and I think when some of your teammates started figuring out that they had a big pool and you can eat there with some type of card. I think some guys I think some of the guys were trying to sneak in with you and maybe even Sasha.
We did the Napa guys, Mika,
Yeah.
Sasha, and Josh. We went to the. I remember we did it a few times. Obviously, Sasha picked us up, and then we spent the whole afternoon there. And then after that, we got a good swim or something.
Yeah.
We went to Sasha's house, to his
Yeah.
dad, and then it happened. I remember his dad asked, Marko, you want to sleep? You guys want to sleep here? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, we slept there, and he made a breakfast, and then we went somewhere to play on the next day.
Yeah.
So we were just living for, for the moment. It was really fun.
Yeah. And some of the guys being so tall, it's hard to sneak into a country club. Josh is 6'8", and other guys are pretty tall. And who cooked a better breakfast, Philippe French or the Urbachs? Who's a better cook?
Oh, I can't tell you. I don't know, because the Urbachs surprised me always something different.
Yeah.
And
they were, that's smart. You're a politician. They tied. So, fast forward 6 years later, man, time flies. You went back to Europe. This past year, I actually ran into your aunt and your younger brother. I saw the last name and didn't really know. And then, he played on the grind session, which now Prolific Prep is a main team on the grind session. And we actually played your brother's team, I think a couple times this year. And he was really, really good. And then I ran into your aunt. She's walking down the stand and she has the same big smile. Your aunt has the personality. She's intelligent. She loves everybody. And she gave me a big hug. And right away, I was like, what's Marko doing? Is he like, I remember you were playing professional basketball, but I didn't really know. And so she was trying to tell me or whatever. And so now fast forward, you're here now, you're a professional player. The couple things you'll always remember about 6 years ago and being in Napa. What are a couple things that you'll always, remember that touched you, that was important to you?
Basically, I remember everything because I enjoyed it. Everybody took a good care of me. Oh. So the team was a big family, and my host parents were amazing. So everything was right. I remember when we had a weekend off, we went to San Francisco with Mika, I think, and Sasha.
Oh yeah.
It was just, we were free, like I got in a new country, new language, but it was really easy to understand everything.
And a lot of those kids were like good kids, they had good parents, like Mika, great parents, Matt O'Reilly, really good parents, Kyle Lefroy, great parents, Ryan Stewart, really good parents, Sasha French's parents were awesome. You had a really good host family. Josh's mom, Apples, she would meet us at the tournaments, and she was awesome. She was rooting for you guys. And, she's, Josh's mom is, probably too hard on Josh sometimes, but there was a lot of really good parents, which really means that Aljavon Eichelberger's parents were good. So they were raised well. And I remember your graduation party at the Urbach house. It was like June. The weather was really nice. And I couldn't believe the year had just passed. And me, I never really always have a lot of time, but I got to sit there and for like 4 hours, and we were just hanging out. And Barry and Lori they started telling me all a bunch of stories about, whether it be one day you were at the French's house, or, one day you slept in, or, you were trying to figure out economics, or you were, they started telling stories about you. And I was like, man, that year went by really fast because we were doing, Amadou and Mamadou and we were dealing with, and Baidi Kamagate, we were dealing with all kinds of stuff. Fun times, really memorable. And now you're a professional player. How old are you now? You're 20, you're 20,
23.
23. Oh man, you're still young. I think Ryan Stewart just turned 23 also. I just talked to him yesterday. Um, so your health is good right now. You guys are just in quarantine. And then next year you're trying to figure out what team you're going to play on, or you're still under contract.
I have a contract, but I have an option. I can leave the team in the summer.
Okay.
I came here for the last season, so
Okay.
we ended up, and I will see my options in Europe. My plan is to play in a strongest league.
Okay.
I will see which country, and yes, this is what I'm trying to figure out now.
Yeah. And last thing before we leave, and again, man, this was awesome, Marko. I really appreciate your time, and you always have a big smile, and you had really good energy. Any any advice you would give to Europeans? So the game of basketball is being played everywhere, and nowadays a lot of kids are trying to maybe get to the United States, and maybe some go college, some go pro, whatever, different experiences. I mean, you got on a plane to a program that just started and you had no idea. You didn't know if we were good guys or bad guys, but it worked out really well. Any advice you would give Europeans that are 15, 16, and 17 and trying to figure out, they're pretty talented like you, maybe they're going to be a professional someday, and any advice you would give them?
I would say try to be always open for the
Okay.
new things. If you are open, it's really easy to understand how things going in a different country, in a different kind of basketball, and they are young.
Yeah.
They don't have to be afraid of anything, so they will figure out anyway.
Yeah, very good advice. Being open, your personality was so good, you were outgoing, that everyone became your friend. And if you were to call any of us or your former teammates, I remember you treated people really well, and it was partly because that's how you were raised. But the other thing is you were just excited and happy, and the word you used before, kind of free. You're in the Bay Area and the Napa Valley, and going to San Francisco sometimes, but you were always you always treated your teammates really well. You guys laughed a lot. Sometimes you guys laughed because you guys couldn't understand each other, and then you also had the serious side because you were really, most of you were really focused in basketball when we were on the court, like you said, competitive, like Josh Jackson and Kyle Lefroy and you, Marko, and then Sasha and Aljavon Eichelberger and Mika Elon. But the way you were, you opened the door for other international kids to come to our program. And since you've been in our program, we have had like 17 international players from around the world in our program, and you probably don't even know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I saw on Facebook. I follow the page with Prolific Prep.
Oh yeah.
And on Instagram, I saw some Croatian guy join the team, but I don't know exactly who are the new members.
Yeah. In conclusion, have you seen like any, like this year's team or a little bit on the internet, and like maybe a Jalen Green or something, because now the world, basketball, you can at your phone or Facebook or Twitter. Have you seen a few highlights from the past couple years, or have you seen anything from the team at all?
All I saw when my brother played against your team, so I couldn't watch the game on the stream. Something went wrong, I remember. But after that, there were some highlights, and then
Oh.
I could check that.
Yeah, man. It's how small is the world? Prolific Prep, you're on our first team ever, and then 5 years later, we're playing against your brother in a gym in Napa. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just the world is so small with basketball. It is, man, it's crazy. And any last words as you get ready for the summer? Any last thoughts here as we end our interview?
It was this whole prolific prep story. It was the great time. Really, I appreciate everything, and I wish you the best luck.
Yeah, no, Marko, we thank you. You mean a lot to us. You know, you made a big impact on that first year's team. That first year's team was special. A lot of different young men, all really good kids that loved basketball. And you were from Hungary, and guys were from around the world. So our program wants to say thank you to you. Um, I'm gonna try to, I'm busy sometimes, but I want to continue to kind of follow you. Please make sure you say hello to your aunt and your parents. And if there's anything we can ever do, just shoot us a quick email or a WhatsApp text, and we'll try to do anything that you want.
Okay. Thank you.
Marko, get some rest. Man, you got some muscles. You almost when you're done with basketball, maybe a movie career, right? Come back to Hollywood, right? Maybe Barry Urbach's your agent. You come back to Hollywood and get a couple spots in the movies.
I was thinking about it. I'm tall, so why not? I can be an actor.
Yeah, you're tall, but you're also good looking. You know what I mean? You're good looking. You got the big shoulders, and you know what? We'll see if that works out after your pro career. But thanks again for taking the time this evening, Marko. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.